Good evening, everybody. Thank you for waiting. I hope you hung in there until I'm on. We had a few little technical problems, but seems to be all solved. He's a very intelligent and talented man. So I'm Gisela Di Carlo. Thank you for tuning in today on this very nice Friday evening. And as I promised you last week, we want to talk about Lyme disease. In the Northeast, it is really quite an epidemic. Lyme disease affects everybody. Animals, people, young, old, and it can be quite a disease that can really hamper your being. That means it can affect anything and everything. Pretty much so, it affects at first the muscular areas, all the soft tissue. That's where the spirocheta that is released by the Lyme tick. And not every tick, by the way, is a Lyme tick. The Lyme ticks are very, very small. And often you can't see them. And often you don't even have any rash or bullseye or anything else until weeks and months later that the spirocheta has replicated in your body and starting to do havoc. Very much so like sort of termites. Termites you don't see at first until they are so large in population that you do see them crawling around, and then they have pretty much so eaten down your house often. And the Lyme spirocheta is similar to that. It does damage to soft tissue. It does damage to the mitochondria of the cell. And that's why it is such a dangerous disease. It is also a second cousin to syphilis, which most people don't know. A doctor in Austria has found that, and in America, American doctors and American medicine is, in my opinion, pretty arrogant when it comes to, finding what other nations and what other countries are doing. Because we do have Lyme disease in Europe also, not quite as prevalent as it is here, but they do have Lyme. In fact, Lyme disease seems to be all over the world by now. But coming back to that, it is a second cousin to syphilis. And as you may know or not know, syphilis affects the soft tissue and also the brain tissue. You go really quite insane if you do not, if you leave syphilis untreated. And the same thing can happen with Lyme. If it is untreated and not, and here's the key, treat it. And we're talking about not a cure. A cure is not the absence of bacteria or the spirocheta. A cure is the absence of disease, the absence of that there are that you have muscle aches, that you have damage to your body. Treating the Lyme disease in the United States is predominantly done with doxycycline. And doxycycline does only one thing. And we know that. And still they treat with doxycycline. It only does It chases the Spirschetta into hiding. It chases it into areas where the doxycycline cannot really reach it. Even if you would irradiate your entire body, you would very likely die in the process, but even if you would, if that would happen, and you would kill the Spirschetta, then you would still, the damage that the Spirschetta has done would still be there. So doxycycline chases the Spirschetta into hiding because doxycycline does not kill the Lyme bacteria. Well, some of the Lyme bacteria. Often, it is such a big, complex issue, Lyme. It is not an easy way to really explain it. What often happens is when you get bitten by a Lyme tick, you also get a secondary bacteria infection. Not always, but sometimes. That bacteria infection causes the fever, the chills, the malaise, the not feeling well afterwards. If you do not have the bacterial infection, and you got bitten, and you the Spirschetta has just entered into your body and replicates there, then you will not have the fevers and the chills, most likely. But then again, that has happened. Everything that I'm saying has been disputed many times already. Many people have had chills, fevers, even though they did not have a secondary bacterial infection. So it is a very unpredictable disease. This doctor in Austria that found that the Spirschetta is a second cousin to syphilis also concluded that what treats syphilis, and that is penicillin. And the only thing that treats really syphilis is penicillin. I'm sure that they have by now some other treatments that are chemically derived, which I don't know about, but for the most part, syphilis is the preferred method of treating. Penicillin is the most preferred method of treating syphilis. And therefore, he concluded, if it is a second cousin, let's treat Lyme disease with penicillin. And it has been very successful. I have been treating people with penicillin, oral penicillin, and homeopathic remedies. Very successful. My husband has had Lyme. I have Lyme. 2 of my dogs have Lyme, and 1 of my horses has Lyme. So all of them have been treated with penicillin and then with homeopathic remedies. In each case, the homeopathic remedy was selected according to the symptoms apparent. Now, my husband had symptoms that he could not really move. He had joint and muscle pain. He could not lift up his arms. And he couldn't even dress himself. I had symptoms of muscle aches, piercing pains in my muscles. Also digestive problems and memory problems. My dog had problems. He couldn't get up. He could not. He was like he was paralyzed. At first I thought that he had hurt himself jumping up on the bed, until I found out then, when I took him to the doctor to get the test, that he did have Lyme. I had treated him right away with homeopathy, and that helped right away. But then we followed up with penicillin. My horse had different symptoms, huge symptoms of swellings. The whole hind quarter down to the leg was triple in size. It was just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And again, homeopathy fixed the immediate problem, and then I treated with penicillin, oral penicillin. I opened the capsules, I put it in an apple, and gave it to her. She is a little shy horse. She loves to eat. So it's no problem giving her any remedies or any medicine. But each time the homeopathic remedy was selected according to what the symptoms were at the time. And that is what I have found that it is most successful. I've treated numerous dogs, cats not so much. It seems like I have not had yet a cat with Lyme disease. I'm sure that I will run into that at one point, but I have just not treated a cat with Lyme disease. Numerous dogs and people. And like I said, each was a different set of symptoms. Often the symptoms are severe and sometimes just mild. For instance, just a general muscle aches, general fatigue, tired, not appetite loss, depressed, numerous. You name it, the symptoms can be exhibited by Lyme disease. That is why doctors have such a hard time treating it, because the symptoms are so all over the map that it is very, very hard to point your finger and say, oh yeah, this is Lyme, And the tests that we have are not very conclusive. Most of the time if the test shows a positive, it usually shows a positive negative. That means, yeah, you have been exposed to Lyme. Do you have Lyme? Has it been replicating? Is it active? Often doctors don't know. These tests don't show that. Even if you get tested and you do not show that you have a positive Lyme exhibit in your blood, you could have Lyme because the test just didn't pick it up. That particular blood sample that they took from you just didn't have the spirocheta in it. And so, therefore, it doesn't show it. There are also several different tests. Depending on which test the doctor is using, that is the test that will tell if you have Lyme or not. Now, can you be cured of Lyme? Well, cure is when I read you the definition of cure. Cure is if you use it as a noun, the restoration of health recovering from disease. A method or course of medical treatment used to restore health. An agent such as drug that restores health, a remedy. Something that corrects or relieves a harmful or disturbing situation. That's the noun for cure. And the verb for cure is to restore health, to effect a recovery from a cure or cold, to remove or remedy or cure an evil. Now, it doesn't say that the bacteria or the spirocheta is dead. Doesn't say that anywhere. Or the whatever made you ill, that it is remedied. And what we have seen over the last 10, 15 years, that people have been really researching Lyme, because before that, people treated, the doctors treated people for everything else but for Lyme. They didn't even acknowledge that there was such a thing as Lyme disease. But what they have found is that you can never really be cured. Sort of like a herpes virus. You know, once you have, because herpes is a second cousin to chickenpox. So that resides in your body forever. It is there forever. Now, will it raise its ugly head and make you ill? At times, yeah, it can. When your immune system is not at its optimum, when you are under an enormous amount of stress, and therefore stress, as we know, reduces the immune system. If that happens, you can get a herpes blister, you can get a herpes zoster, you can even get shingles, which is also a cousin to herpes. And that is the same thing as Lyme. If, for instance, your immune system goes down by either by another illness, that you're catching a cold, by overabundance of stress, by that your entire health. Maybe you develop diabetes. Maybe you develop a heart problem. All of that reduces the immune system's effectiveness to battle its internal battles to keep you healthy. Also, a lot of the blood pressure medications and steroids and also cholesterol-lowering medications, they reduce the immune system. So if you have Lyme disease and you take any of those, your symptoms may be coming up periodically. Even if you have, let's say you have come to me and I have cured you, and you're symptoms free, these symptoms may come back if one of those immune system reducing situations occur. And that happens the same thing with animals. Animals have the same type of problems. If they are under stress, or if they have, for instance, veterinarians love to give a battery of shots to every animal. If they could, they would do it every year. Thankfully, there are enough people out there who are wise enough and learned enough now to say, no, every 5 or 6 years a rabies is enough. But many animals get wormed, and they have the wrong kind of food or so on. They have the same type of stresses that we have. So when the immune system there goes down, they exhibit symptoms of the Lyme. I've had a dog, a pretty big dog, a beautiful big dog. He was, the owner called me late in the evening, and she said, oh, Charlie is just not getting up, and he's been lying now for 2 days already, and he doesn't want to eat, and he's really in poor form. Can you come over? So I packed my bag and I went over, because I do make house calls, and I saw the dog, and the dog, yeah, couldn't get up. The entire hind quarter was like it was paralyzed. I gave him a dose of arsenicum, and um, he seemed like after about a half an hour, he seemed like he was, his demeanor was picking up a little bit. And then I left the owner some more remedy of my favorite leader, which is a Lyme remedy that I use predominantly. And but in the morning he was still poor. I mean, he still he did not want to. At night, apparently, I left, and at night, apparently, he cried a couple of times, and she each time gave him some remedy. And then in the morning, he was still not any better. I said, you know what? I would really like him to be tested for Lyme, because he had never been tested for Lyme, and we didn't know what. I really didn't know what I was treating. Did he run and injured his spine, and he was really paralyzed, or was it Lyme? So I said, let's pick him up, let's stand him up on his feet, see if he can stand, and let's get him to the bed. And when we got to the bed early in the morning, he was walking into the office. And so I knew it was Lyme. And then they tested him, and they confirmed that he had Lyme. We requested then some penicillin for him, which they did. And it was really remarkable that the vet did not give me any grief about the penicillin, because sometimes they, oh, no, doxycycline is the only thing that you can take. So the dog is fine. It's running around. It's in great shape. Has not had a reoccurrence. And I don't think that he will have again. But if he does, we just treat him with homeopathy, not with antibiotic again. Antibiotics kill. They don't heal. That is one thing that we all have to understand and know. Antibiotics are not for healing. They kill bacteria, period. And they kill good bacteria and bad bacteria. So taking antibiotics for 3 and 4 years, as I have heard in the past, and as I had one client of mine came to me and she said, I've been for 2 years now on antibiotics. My stomach is hurting most of the time now. Most of the time I feel sick in my stomach. I do take probiotics with it, but it's still not, getting any better. So what can I do? Well, the first thing we did is we took off the antibiotics, and I treated her with very high potency homeopathy, and she is fine. She thanks me every time, and she tells everybody, Gisela is the miracle worker. Well, I'm not. I was just very fortunate that I could find the right remedy for her right away, and that we were at a point in her life and in her immune system that her body was responding to the remedies. Because that can happen too, that the body does not respond. So let's just to sum it up, Lyme disease, I don't want to say categorically that we cannot cure either eye or allopathy. However, we are not on the end of the Lyme disease saga as yet. We don't know everything about it. In fact, we know very little about it. And but homeopathy can help with most people with symptoms, so that people do not have, our animals do not have any symptoms and do not feel disease and sick, because there's nothing worse than feeling sick and tired continuously. And that's what Lyme disease can do. Lyme disease can make you feel sick and tired, and you feel like you have a continuous flu many times, and that is not a good thing, as you probably all know. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I would love to hear your questions. I would love to also hear from you of what your viewpoints are, if you have cases, what your experience has been with Lyme disease. And my email, or you can send it to the station, or you can email me direct at mylife-mywill@live.com. mylife-mywill@live.com. I would love to hear from you. If you have anybody that suffers from Lyme, please go and seek help, because the worst thing that you can do is not seek help. But like I said, doxycycline is not the right method. Now, there have been other methods, right? It's an energy healing method. My husband, when he was first diagnosed with Lyme disease, that's how I got into Lyme disease, into researching it really, which was about 4 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now. He was in such bad shape, his doctor kept giving him anti-inflammatories, which damaged his heart, which he ultimately then had a heart valve replacement because of that, because he had an aneurysm in his heart, because the veins in his heart and all over in his body thinned, because with anti-inflammatories you thin the walls of your veins also. And he had an aneurysm in his heart, which was the result of the anti-inflammatories. And he still had all of the symptoms of Lyme. And he went from one doctor to the next. I mean, there was a chiropractor who made designs over his body and whispered things, and everybody swore that he was able to cure and I'm sure that there have been people that walked away and felt relieved. But, I don't know. I really don't know what is the best method. I only know what doesn't work. That's the only thing that I do know. What works for everybody? Well, everybody who's come to me and I treat with homeopathy, they have been feeling better, and they have been after, some people right away, some people a little longer, felt that they were symptom-free. But, there are naturally also other ways of treating Lyme, and
Gisela,
yes.
So we know that to keep the fleas off, you said to use Dawn or something like that.
Yeah.
How do we keep the ticks? Yep.
Yeah, very good question. Very good question. Because the best way to heal or cure Lyme is not to even get it, right? Yeah. Well, there are, for dogs, there are many tick repellent medications out there. Many of them, like frontline, I find more dangerous than most of the ticks. And I do not, I don't think that a healthy dog that is is bathed frequently and does not is fed a healthy diet, fresh food diet, is not as susceptible. But here's what you can do if you live in the woods like I do. What I do is I take my hands and I use geranium oil with a drop of eucalyptus oil, and I put it in my hands like this, and I go over the fur of my animals, so that seems to be a pretty good repellent. I have brewer's yeast also works for that. For people, I ride my horse in the woods. That's where the ticks are. I wear long sleeve shirts. I have my pants tucked into my shoes. I wear something around my neck that I don't get any, and I have a hat on that a helmet on that protects me. I have not had another tick bite since. I've really been very aware of that and have been doing that. And if you walk in the woods or in an area, ticks are predominantly in grassy area too. Grassy areas. So if you go and walk in grassy areas, you're more susceptible to get a tick. And they usually come up from underneath, through your pants or on your legs up, and check yourself frequently when you come in from a walk like this. I do not, there is Skin So Soft, which is made by Avon, which everybody swears by. Well, that seems to be working. There's also several tick and insect repellents that are with DDT. Well, I don't think they use DDT anymore, but they use other things. I don't know. For my horses, what I use is apple cider vinegar, baby oil, and a drop of eucalyptus oil, and I shake it real well and I spray them with it. And it works for the flies, works for the mosquitoes. And you know what? I put it on my hands when I go out riding. And if it's very hot and I don't want to be all bundled up, I put it around my neck also. And it seems to be working. So apple cider vinegar and mineral oil, baby oil really, and a drop of eucalyptus oil seems to be doing the trick. But, there's no sure way.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Nope.
No?
No.
All right. Well, I hope that answered some of the questions about Lyme. I try to tell you as much as there's out there. If you do suffer from Lyme, please do get treated. Try to get treated with penicillin if you can. If you cannot take penicillin, if you're allergic to penicillin, then amoxicillin might be a choice. Penicillin VK is another choice. Penicillin VK is coated so that the stomach acid does not take the penicillin right away and destroys it, but it lasts a little longer in your intestines. But like I said, if you're very allergic to penicillin, then you cannot do that. And then, homeopathy or any of the alternative healing modalities might be your best choice.
Okay.
Well, I try to, like I said, I try to give you as much information about it. If you do have questions, please email them to me. I will diligently answer them. And next week, well, you know, what I thought what would be nice also is we could talk about behavior issues. Many animals and many people have behavior issues. Maybe we can talk about some behavior issues. And please don't be shy. Um, and ask me questions. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you, and I'm here to answer questions. And if I cannot help, or if I don't know the answer, I will say so. And then I will research it and find out. Okay. Amon, do we have anybody else online that?
We have. I asked if little lady has any questions.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think so.
No. Okay. Very good. Well, thank you very much for listening again. And I hope to see you. And I hope that you tune in next Friday. And please tell your friends that this is an informative show that may help you and your pet. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.